It's me, Mario. No, it's me, Nicole, Russin-McFarland. Although if you played Nintendo 64 back in the day and you had that Super Mario game, would have been Mario. Being followed Kardashian style with a little cloud guy filming him on a reality show. He was the pioneer of e-entertainment. No, actually, you are not here because you like Nintendo 64 and geeking out over games. You are here because you want to learn about having publicity without a publicist. Whether you want one and don't have the money, or you think publicists are terrible, evil people, and you never want one. I've heard both opinions, so usually both opinions also happen to belong to newbie actors, newbie musicians. So whatever your feelings are, keep those feelings, because I'm going to tell you how to do it. So how do we do it? Okay. First, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. I was going to say this is a cheesy phrase, but beggars cannot be choosers. Why can't they be choosers? Well, because unless your name is Martin Scorsese, nobody is going to care about what you have to say initially. So you have to get any press you can. And this isn't saying get bad press, it's saying get any press. So what you're going to do, you're going to contact podcasts. You are going to contact people you meet online who are journalists at every single level. And you will find them because there are places like Haro, Help a Reporter Out in the United States. There are several different ones. In addition to Haro, where they are like ad services seeking sources, you are going to use the Journal Request hashtag on Twitter and Instagram. You're going to sign up for Source Bottle in Australia. And you're going to seek out, those are the ones right now in the year 2020, but you're going to seek out different PR services from people who are journalists looking for sources. And many of them won't apply to you, right? But if you're an author, are you more than an author or more than an actor or more than a film director or singer? Any of these things? Yes, you are. Oh, hey, here's an article. And a reporter wants to know in this fictional example, do people who wear glasses clean them all the time with Windex? Oh, hey, you do? You're an actor, but you also clean your glasses with Windex instead of generic brand Windex. Why do you like it? You could talk to that reporter. And when you do, you need to do these things. That's just a fake example, of course. But whether it's you talking about lip gloss, you talking about your love of anime, whatever it is, you have to do the following. And I do this myself. Insist that your full name is used. Because if you don't have a full name in there and you're just Katie, how do they know you're Katie Holmes or Katie down the road who works at the post office? Exactly. And many journalists, I wouldn't say the majority, but a solid enough amount of journalists have this specific treatment that if you are, Demi Moore's daughter, you get named full name. But if you are an actress with more credits than her, but maybe you're not Demi Moore's daughter, you go by first name only or initials or whatever, and they will name everybody in the article, but you, that girl who's a rapper, and so. And those three people you included will go by first name only bases. Now, that's incorrect. Or is it bases? I don't know how. I'm in Western. Excuse me for not knowing how to speak English. I guess first name basis. But anyway, the point is, you have to be so wary of your name because your name is the most valuable thing to you in terms of your press. And if you get press that doesn't mention your name, why are you doing it? Because you shouldn't be. So you have to be very persistent with these people. Just say thank you, in a more polite way than I'm saying, but basically thank you for your time with me as a source. Please know I only consent to being featured in your article if my full name is used. And there was an incident I had with it. Like normally that goes really well with me, but there was an incident I had with a huge publication in the last month where they said they acted like that was okay. And then they published the piece with my first name only. So I told them, like, either you remove my name or you put remove everything from this article that includes me and put my name as a choice, is an alternative, because those are the two, like, full info, keep me, or get rid of me, get rid of all my info. And they chose to get rid of me, and I was fine with that, because I don't think any of you guys out there who are hardworking individuals, no matter what your career is, this podcast is aimed at people in entertainment, but it's basically for anyone, whether you're a dentist or you're somebody building a clothing brand or whatever it is. Your name is the most important thing you own. Okay. At least in terms of PR. So please never tolerate just going by Susan, David, whatever. You deserve more. It doesn't matter if you're talking about chewing gum. You deserve to be David Smith, who lives in Huntsville, Alabama, because that is so important to you, and an individual. And as a journalist, many people don't mind, but there's just this huge amount, particularly in the arts and fashion industry, of journalists who are not savvy as to that. They don't care, but they'll name, like, an Instagram influencer who's partnering with Target and give her a glowing thing. And then it's like, oh, who is she? She's just a nameless weirdo. No. And actually some men too. I was interviewed in a piece where I insisted, like I said, this is why I tell you guys everything I learned, because it's happened to me enough times with lady publications on and off that people will do this. So there was a piece where I was interviewed along with some men, and I told a person, you should name me. You should name all the men. They're maybe not telling you. I don't know if they are, but you should name me. So please, I'm going to move on past this point, but that's a huge deal. Your name is priceless. So you have all that. You're going to contact all these people on whatever free things you can find where journalists are seeking sources, right? Well, you can also reach out to people who are not seeking sources and see if they'll take you. Although cold emails and cold phone calls, they're called cold because, it's like, I hate that jargon, but, you're reaching out to people who are basically ice cubes, and they might not want to reach out to you back and do interviews with you. You can try that. It's not a guarantee it will work. Some people get places on that. Some people don't. It's just up to you. Say you're doing that. Say you're having podcasts. What else can you do? Well, you can, when you see student journalists seeking sources, you can contact them, because many pieces that are beautifully written pieces are done by student journalists. And for you to have press at a grander scale, like for you to get a Vogue cover or GQ cover or whatever, very often they don't want to cover somebody who's never had any coverage. So you're going to want to bundle up all this coverage. And student publications, like, I'm going to go on my website right now and tell you about some fabulous ones that I've done. And my experience is, I'll read you my statement at the bottom of the page. See, it says here, this is my explanation. What about your press clippings before 2018? So this is what I said. Nothing was reflective enough of my personal journey into becoming who I am today, building the dream career I always wished I had as a 12-year-old. Sometimes you need a fresh start. Mine began in 2018, the year I finally started showing the world 100% of who I really am. That's actually true. More or less. I would say like 2020 is the year I do with that, but 2018 was kind of the beginning of that. So if you are in the position, if you've had prior press and you didn't really like it that much, or you liked it, but it just wasn't you, even though it was well written and kind, which is the latter is more of me, 90%. I had really good press, and it just wasn't a reflection of who I am because I wasn't being myself. That's not any journalist's fault. That's just mine. So, okay. That's one reason you need to be yourself too. So I'm trying to think of all my tips at the same time, but okay. Here's a really good student publication, The College View. And this is a gentleman called Dylan O'Neill who wrote Performing the Role of a Lifetime. And it's a beautiful article. I have more than one student journalist article in here. They still rank on Yahoo and search engines, so they're all good. And until they get ingrained into the search engine, you're going to want these on your website because it can take a year or more sometimes for some people's info to go on Google. I'm one of those people, so learn from everything I do. I'm a giggle fest, by the way. Sorry, I'm a giggle box some days. Okay. So, the College View. Before I read it, I will tell you who they are. The College View is Dublin City University's only student newspaper, independently run voluntarily by students, affiliated to the Journalism Society, and it started in 1999. Okay. And this is talking about, this is one example. It's a beautiful article, so well written, and I'm not just saying that because I'm in it. Yeah, I am. No, actually, because the attention to detail in this, it still pops up on Google, and the attention to detail in this piece is so well done that you would think it's from a professional magazine like the New York Times. Students with a background in performing arts develop transferable skills that can lead to employment opportunities in a multitude of job sectors, according to Ireland's largest career recruitment company. So it's about people from all over the world who loved the performing arts. And here I am. I'm going to scroll down to me. It talks about, okay, for me, Nicole Russin-McFarland, being involved in the performing arts inspired her to pursue a career in film directing and film score composing. Beginning music classes during school, Russin-McFarland spent her time learning to write sheet music, getting involved in talent shows and comedy acts, drawing inspiration from the likes of Hans Zimmer, James Horner, and people around her age on MTV as a driving force behind her passion to make her hobby into a career. And there's a quote from me. I was really inspired by people who were working film score composers at large levels. Only Hans Zimmer was branding himself in a brilliant businessman method, and you see that today with how established he is to those who don't follow film music. And it goes on for 3 more paragraphs after that, but it's a really nice article. Had I been focused on only achieving, if I'm not on the cover of Glamour this month, I'm not doing it. Had I been with that mindset, or this publication isn't famous enough for me, I wouldn't have gotten that nice article. And people, when you have these articles, are more inspired to book you for podcast, book you as a talk show host or guest, depending on what. Oh, just poked my microphone. Talking with my hands. All right, so don't talk to myself with my hands. This is not a public speech, Nicole. I'll tell myself. I'm pretending like I'm giving a TED Talk right now. Yeah, but anyway. Okay, say you have this press. You say, oh, it's just a student publication. Nobody's going to read it. Wrong. So students know people who read it. People who read the stuff could be powerful people, but it's also on Google. So say someone wants to read about James Horner. He or she will find this article. Say that people who have worked with James Horner want to contact me, and then they're like, oh, she loves James Horner. And then they click this off the press clips on my website. Say that somebody's a casting director, because I also do voiceover acting. By the way, when I do voiceover acting, I don't sound like myself. I have versatile voice acting chops, if you say. So say that they want me to do a singing voice of a squirrel who has a really high-pitched voice for a Disney tune or whatever. He or she can read this article and then say, like, the squirrel sounds cool. Whereas had I been like, I'm going to get in the New York Times, and they give me one sentence, and, they're like, Nicole Russin-McFarland likes sugar-free ice cream. And that's the whole thing. And it's like, yeah, it's dope. And that's my quote. That's probably something I would say, because I mean, it is dope, but you know what I mean? Like, that's my quote. And then it's all people know about me, and they don't know anything that I have this wisdom of knowledge of, music or my lifetime of music or anything else. I'm just the girl who thinks ice cream is cool. That's not going to do anything for my career or my interest. So here's another one. Then I'll give you some other examples that I've done. They're super duper cool. Is 2020 the year we embrace having no beauty routine? By Britt Dawson of Dazed Digital. And I really liked this article because although it's not about music, it's kind of my brand of like, I don't care. I'm awesome. I don't need to do anything to be awesome. And that goes for you too. So I was interviewed with some other people, like medical professionals, etc., about different views. And my view was, you don't have to share it, how lots of stuff in the beauty industry is just fraud, snake oil. Okay. And it talks about people are turning away, and it goes here, film director and score composer. I forgot film score composer, whatever. It's a cool article. Thank you. Film director and score composer Nicole Russin-McFarland, 32, believes this is especially true for many Western women who, quote, have an attitude that if you don't use thousands of products, you're going to be like the witch from the Wizard of Oz. Melting of water gets thrown at you. Only washing with a bar of soap, quote, my skin either breaks out, peels, or gets rashes from any skin products, end quote, she explains. And regularly using sun cream, Nicole has never followed a routine and asserts that she doesn't have a single wrinkle. And then it goes on and on with me and the other people in it. But, that's a cool article. And it's not something that is, it's a pretty well-known publication too. So that was cool. And that's a publication that, maybe someday they might cover me. Who knows? But I know myself pretty well. This was published on January 2nd. And I did the interview, I want to say like November, December 2019. I know with certainty that from my standpoint in my career in December 2019, I was not going to be the toast of the town for Dazed Digital, promoted like crazy with a glowing interview. You know your limitations, like my great uncle always said. My limitation at that time in my career was kind of getting on a good start, but I was not Jennifer Lawrence or a past starlet like Catherine Zeta-Jones. I was not somebody with name recognition of that level. So for me to be in Dazed Digital and have my name in there with something that's relatively positive and kind of a fun way of talking about stuff, it's very good. And that's because I'm responding to people or, looking at opportunities for things that are not only about me talking about film composing. And you do get product placements because you're a product. You don't want to be a product, but in a way you're a product. So just think about that like a product placement. You will get placements. Okay. Then there's one that's like a blog in Ireland, a chat with Nicole Russin-McFarland, and some different things. And I've also talked about business. So I have some, co by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. I'm talking about Etsy and how I have an Etsy shop I share. What's the other one? 6 women on finding out they make less than their male coworkers. And that was for a fashion brand called LaFleur. And they have a blog on there. So although they're not a traditional media outlet, I granted an interview to a young woman called Danielle Campamore. I hope I pronounced that right. And she's a journalist. She's a freelancer for CNN, etc. Looking for true stories about people who earned less money. And I talk about how that doesn't always work out when you complain. You get go away money, I called it. And then, there's a podcast I did, different things. And this is all for me having an open mind and open spirit. Like there are some nice articles about my music, filmmaking. Let's see. Podcast ones. There's one in 2018, me talking about books on talk radio in the UK. I mean, lots of super cool stuff. And I'm telling you, it happens because we have an open mind. And if you have an open mind and you're willing to accept that right now you don't have a publicist, right now you are not double Oscar winner, you're not Meryl Streep, you're not the girl of the moment. Well, she's kind of like a permanent girl of the moment, Jennifer Aniston. You're not those people. You make do with what is given to you. And in turn, you can build upon it and have more press handed to you. what, be it Vogue, New York Times, Times of London, whatever, you will have that handed to you because people are so reluctant to give press to people who don't have press. It's contradictory. So the easiest way to have press is to work with starter podcasts, newbie people, or like I said, famous publications, looking for people who maybe are not going to talk about acting, but talk about, like, I like shopping. I like this. And I've done a few of those. I wonder when those are coming out. I talk about my shopping guides and stuff. So, in years of doing my own press, I've had some where I feel like I'm very wooded and I'm not being myself. Please be yourself. Always be yourself. Because people look at it like with an attitude, and this is of me imitating people, quote, I'm not making money right now. Why would I be myself? I need to be this to make money. But the reality is, if you aren't making money, you're, being a fake person. What odds do you have? Like, what do you have to lose? Well, if you're already not making any money and you're already not famous, you should try to be yourself, because then you have nothing to lose. You're only going to go up. And that's what happens with me. Like, I'm only going to go up being myself. And usually people respond to it better. So I'm probably going to have more press episodes eventually and sharing what I learned. But this is just to get you started. I see like I'm hitting 21 minutes and 28 seconds. So I'm going to go. Let's get to the next episode. Stay with me. I hope you like this podcast.